I remember how we met, but your name I forget, like the door that I have kept unopened. I remember it was wet, and the swelter, and the sweat, and the shelter of the bed we were cloaked in.
We love playing up north. Actually, we love playing anywhere north, anywhere that you can reach on the M6. We love Glasgow and Edinburgh as well, but me and Euan wouldn't really have stayed. Hey Rue, come and say hi, I'm talking about you. We wouldn't have stayed together as a band if it hadn't been for Manchester, because we really became a band when we stayed at our friend Bernie's in Whalley Range regularly, and then we recorded our album in Lancashire.
Hey, Manchester's awesome. I love Manchester. But I miss Bernie because she's gone to Toronto.
Yeah, she went to Canada, and now we have no northern mother. Getting back into the swing of live shows isn't something that we've had to do too many times. We've never had a year gap like this since we started playing. We haven't had as long a gap as I had in 2010. But it does feel really natural to be back together, and it helps that we're all the same. It's always the same people. If not exactly the same people playing exactly the same instruments, it's a loose collective that we've worked with over time, so it doesn't feel weird or crazy. Because it was our first gig back, I think it went, I think we've got sound teething problems. Our equipment isn't, it's our tools, they're crap. No, I think we need to tweak, but it was really fun.
So we've only been playing these new songs for 5 days, really, gigging them. So it's kind of yeah, you're right. There's teething.
Yeah.
Definitely teething, but.
Are there any early favourites to play live?
I really like playing Sylvia, but it's probably not the one that sounds the best. It's very drudgy. It's very bass heavy on the album.
Yeah. So one bass note for pretty much the whole track.
Yeah.
But there's one called North, which is kind of quite slow. I suppose it's there's Neil Young elements to it, but it's got spacey synths on top, and I love playing that.
With some venues, acoustic gigs are better. It's just it. I think we generally sound better as a band because we have the option to go acoustic too.
Mm-hmm.
So for
the thing is if everything was taken out, it would still be Emma on the guitar singing the songs. It's not. It won't lose a huge amount if that was to drop out.
Yeah.
But
I think it would. It would be more like a live poetry event type.
I suppose,
crowd.
but what I mean is that it wouldn't. It's not like some bands where you take away one effect pedal and then the whole band just fails.
Yeah.
It still has it's like my band. So.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, and the sky was so much bluer. Hallelujah, hallelujah, and the world was so much newer. He said, I have a room, top of the stairs, I have a room with a view. I know we all have a cross that we bear, and I'd like to show it to you.
The first album, it was a massively democratic situation where even the drummer who came up for 2 days, he made up the drum parts and that was the final thing. This time round, it was me, Euan and Gareth Jones, the producer, and we all had our own area of expertise and we were in charge of that, and Gareth oversaw the whole thing. And now people are playing parts that are already written, but it still feels like a band because they enjoy the parts and they're inhabiting it really well. I started writing it after we came off our first Love tour, and I was about to get engaged, and I did get engaged. Guys think it's a secret, a surprise, but I just knew. And then I was writing all this stuff, seemed very generalised, but a lot of fairy tale themes came out quite naturally, which I think is really interesting because I was feeling lost because engagement is intense. And then all of a sudden he left to go to another country and became a very, very, very Christian person. And so the rest of the album kind of wrote itself. And then we just went straight away to go record it with Gareth, and But I was trying to hide the fact that it was a breakup album because I didn't want to talk about the breakup. It was horrible. And also I'd already made one quite adolescent breakup like series of songs. So I think there is all that kind of heartbreak is in there, but it's kind of hidden within these archetypal story themes, which is what I really focused on when I was writing lyrics. I think there's a big progression.
There's a massive progression. You just become like more interested in sonics, and you're working with Gareth. Like Gareth used to be like Depeche Mode's right-hand man in the 80s and stuff, so he's massively into synths and sampling and drum machines. We didn't use a huge amount of that, but we had that kind of thing going on with him, definitely.
It was like that mentality applied to organic sounds.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
was what was really, really cool.
We're making our own instruments out of organic sounds, so like recording various things and then putting them onto samplers, so you know we could use that idea but with organic sounds.
But there were a couple of songs like Paper Forest and Century of Sleep where we started out with a drum beat or something. I go, oh, this is really medieval, let's go with this. And I don't even know if you guys gave a shit that I was saying that.
No,
but
I think
that's my personal way of...
I think mine and Gareth's job was to do that, to kind of take what you were saying and then try and make it make sense musically.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't just have you in the background on the album going, birds here, bird noises here.
Well, we did have jungle noises.
Oh, we did. Oh God, we did.
Yeah, you didn't take part in that.
I refused.
One bit where there was a song called Paper Forest 1, didn't make it on the album. Gareth took it really literally. It was like, everyone is going to be an animal in a forest. There are 4 microphones in this room and you're spending the next 15 minutes as animals. And Euan was like the kid in school who's like got a leather jacket and doesn't want to play dodgeball. He was just sitting in the corner like checking his phone.
I didn't want to do it.
Everyone else had got so into it. It was like...
It's kind of weird being at a festival in May, like because Glastonbury's usually the first one, and then but it's yeah, it's quite weird.
I'd hate to be going straight to Glastonbury for the first thing we do. I'd be so I had the first Glastonbury we ever did, which was your first gig, acoustic stage. Like it was such a damp feeling when it ended because our sound wasn't good and we weren't very prepared. And we came off stage and we were like, that was our Glastonbury show. That was our first one.
You almost feel like a fraud. Like we went out to New York 2 weeks ago to do like one show, and I have this feeling when we go somewhere like that to do one show, if it doesn't go well, or if you don't make it work, then your time there is kind of like almost fraudulent. It doesn't feel right. So I get really upset at festivals when it's a bad show because I can't enjoy the rest of the weekend.
But then sometimes you can't, like, it's not going to be a perfect set sometimes because you're playing in the middle of the day and there's a big headliner that everyone's waiting for. So you have to gauge it per festival. I think for this one, like, everyone's here for the Buzzcocks and the Wedding Present and the Cribs. So like, if we can make them like a little bit excited in preparation for that, I think I'd be happy. I'd love to say for the Cribs, but I think for the sake of our tour manager who's been driving a lot this weekend, I think we're going to just have to go.
Have you seen them before?
I saw them support Stephen Malkmus in like 2007, but they did a weird B-side set. It was at Shepherd's Bush Empire, and they were they just played B-sides.
I saw them do B-sides.
That's really bizarre.
I played a gig in between them and Kate Nash, and they did only B-sides as well. Maybe when they support, they just do B-sides.
They're really they're like a really American band, aren't they? They like love them in the States. Like.
Can I tell you my story from that gig that I did with them? That was like an overnight gig, and that night, because I don't drink that much, I was sitting on the tour bus and I was the last person talking to this young lady for ages, and I was like, you're so amazing, I get on so well with you, we're so on the same level. After about 2 hours, I was like, oh, by the way, do you want me to grab you a beer? She was like, I'm 12. But she was Johnny Marr's daughter. She was so cool. I was so embarrassed. I was like, we should Facebook. Do you want to go shopping next week?